Okay, so we are going to make the chocolate cake that I had shared with you in Google Classroom. So just in case, you should have been able to watch the video, but I just want to make it here as well to kind of give you some other tips and just hopefully your comfortability level is a little higher if you guys want to try this at home. So it's very simple. What we're doing is we're just putting all of our, you should be able to see the ingredients, all of our dry ingredients together. So we have our flour, we're going to add our sugar, we have our salt, baking powder, and baking soda, all measured out. We're going to add that in there. And then our cocoa powder, okay? So we're going to add that in there, and then sort of give it a little whisk together to kind of incorporate all those dry ingredients together before we add our wet ingredients. So you notice, just talking about a little bit about our key terms. So there is 2 cups of sugar in this recipe compared to 1 1/3 or 1 3/4 cups of flour. So there's more sugar than flour in this cake recipe. So what would that be? That would be I'll give you a chance to answer there at home, high ratio cake. So any cake that has more sugar than flour is considered a high ratio cake. So that'll be one of your key terms that you need to remember. All right, so our dry ingredients are together. I have our wet ingredients here. So we have our milk and our vegetable oil, 2 eggs I'm going to add, and Joyce actually gave me the idea, instead of boiling water, I have coffee to kind of give it a little more flavor. So any hot, 1 cup of hot liquid, your recipe just calls for regular water and that's fine. If you want it to be, kind of get it almost to the boiling point when you add it. We're going to add that last. So we have our wet ingredients all kind of mixed together, and then we're going to add that here and whisk it all together to begin our batter. Now a batter is a semi-liquid sweet mixture that will make our cake, right? And a cake is a sweet item made from either a dough or a batter, and in this case a batter. Okay, trying to keep it all in a bowl. Now also, before I started, I took my half-sheet tray and coated it with a little bit of shortening and then dusted it with flour to keep the cake from sticking to it when we go to ice it here later on. It's also important to let your cake cool very well. So this is something, maybe you make the cake one day and then you make the icing and then ice it the next day or later that day, time permitting. All right, so we have our batter put together there. Now we're going to add our coffee or your water in your case. That's going to be hot. And that's going to make it a very loose batter, but don't worry. As the video says, it'll bake right up. So you want to make sure that your oven at home is preheated at 350 degrees. Another note is a cake is usually made up of something, sweet, sugar, flour, eggs, and some sort of leavening agent. And in this case, our leavening agents are the egg helps as a leavening agent, but the chemical leavening agents are the baking powder and the baking soda. So that'll be something you want to remember as well. Okay, so we have this mixed together nicely, and all we have to do now is put it into our prepared baking sheet, right? And I have a spatula, so I'm all ready to go. So we're going to add that here. You could also make this into 2 round cakes. If you wanted to make a round cake, you could pour this, you could make cupcakes out of this if you wanted to. But this one is for a half sheet tray, right? So, all right. So we're gonna bake this for 30 to 35 minutes. I recommend, like we do here, kind of bake it for half the time, turn the pan, check it, and then make sure it's done. So there you go, and we'll do the icing in our next video.